over this last weekend, I participated in my first ever drum making webinar, or seminar, not a webinar, actual physical in person, making a drum. This is the drum that I made. I decided that, I'm an astrologer. I should make a drum that's got 12 sides. I hunted all over the internet looking for who might be able to supply me with a 12-sided drum hoop in order to make this drum. But no, I couldn't find 8-sided. I could find round. I could find 16-sided. I even found some 15 and 17-sided, but nobody had any 12-sided. But being the creative character that I am, and having material available, cedar from my own forest, I decided I'm going to just make my own frame. So I did. I made a 12-sided cedar frame in order so that I could have this 12-sided conversation, because this is a talking tool. Now, you might ask yourself, this background that I have behind me is from one of the shamanic workshops that I attended many years ago. What would make people want to sit around and thump and bump on their drums? Well, it's a meditative process, essentially. And think of the rhythm or the cadence of life that we utilize our hearts to survive with. There's a cadence there. When we're relaxed in meditation, we get that thum, 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 thum. Maybe even a little slower. Go out and do a little exercise. You get a little bit more. We need more blood to those peripheral parts of our being. And the idea of utilizing that cadence through the shamanic process is to allow us to tune into a resonant field that always exists, always has existed around us, and ask questions for answers to come from deep within on matters that, may be pressing in one fashion or another for each of us. Now, on to the astrology of this particular week. Let's pull up a chart. You can kind of see I'm still using the chart base, which is for 8 o'clock NA morning. And this is Monday morning because I was, tied up, so to speak, doing the drum dance. And just looking at what, leaps off the screen to me is this conjunction between the Sun and Uranus. Sun and Uranus here in Taurus at 23 degrees, saying, what kind of energy might that solar driving, spirit energy want to make sure that we're paying attention to as we go into this week? The first idea, oh, by the way, also the moon is out of bounds still for today. It'll go back in bounds tomorrow. But more specifically, what kind of energy might this Uranian factor? You're going to hear things from other people like, oh, be prepared for the unprepared, unpredictable and stuff. I would tend more toward the leaning of pay attention. There are likely factors in this particular week that are going to ask you to wake up to certain things that are going on around you that if you're not paying attention, you may not, you may not be aware of. But Uranus is really the great awakener, Prometheus, wanting to make sure that we are not totally missing out on the adventure of the living experience. And the sun being right there with Uranus as we begin this week is saying, don't think small, don't be small. There's an energy quotient that is saying, you, if you're willing, are about to participate in something that is going to, likely rattle you a little bit. That's part of the awakening process, so that we don't slumber through the experiences that are all around us, tempting to beckon our participation in something that we haven't done yet or before. Wake up. And I look at the Sabian symbol for this particular degree of the 23 degree of Taurus. What could it be? It says, an Indian warrior riding fiercely, human scalps hanging from his belt. Now, how's that for an image to start the week? And the keynote, the aggressiveness of human instincts when fighting for their earthly base of operation. So try not to sleep through this week. There are things afoot. Are you paying attention? Main aspect, to kick this week off. Tuesday comes, the moon is moved into Leo, which means that soon we're going to have our first quarter moon of this lunar cycle that we're in right now, that began last week. Wednesday, a Mercury day. Notice here, what's Mercury doing? 29 degrees, 53 minutes of Aries, and it's moving along. Let's see what speed it's moving along. Let's go over here. Travel during the day. It goes over a degree a day. So it's moving along at a good clip, which means that to cover those last 7 minutes of Pisces, of Aries, where it is only going to take, a couple hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then it's going to shift into the sign of Taurus. So our thinking, our ability to rationalize processes, moving into Taurus, out of that, possibly you could see it as that fierce Indian with the scalps hanging from its belt as it rides across the plains, protection of what? Going into Taurus, it's the protection of this zone that we live in, Mother Earth. And it's Mercury. Our thoughts are percolating. What is it that, leaps to the mind first and says, I need to communicate something about this experience that I have picked up while doing the fierce warrior dance as I move into the land of Taurus. And I want to, allow, Aries is not really necessarily allowing kind of energy. It's like taking action and stuff. Taurus says, oh, all that action makes me want to kick back and take a break. Mercury, what is it that in this theoretical break that we're taking from that high Aryan energy quotient and going to allow to settle into our bones so that as we engage in our thinking and our conversations one with another and within ourselves, how deep are you going to allow that communicative process to go? Remember, Uranus this week, dancing, holding hands with that sun, saying, are you awake? How willing might you be to allow your thoughts to expand beyond the parameters that you have been holding yourself within? I go back to the drum talk. That's what the drums are doing. They're talking, setting up a cadence and a rhythm to allow yourself to move into so that options can surface in your thoughts and consciousness that you might not generally or normally be inclined to investigate. And in that investigative process, might you awaken to things that, they may have been kind of floating around in the background in your consciousness, but, Sun dancing with Uranus, they're going to be a little closer to the surface. So, what else have we got happening this week? Oh, yes, on this day, Wednesday, our Mercury day, you might notice that Sun here at 25 degrees of Taurus and the Moon here at 26 degrees of Leo, which means basically a couple of hours ago was the first quarter moon of this particular lunar cycle. Crisis in action is what Dane Rudger, a father of modern American astrology, referred to as this first quarter moon. The moon is getting bigger. We want to act. But this first quarter is there's a crisis. Have I chosen the appropriate path that will best suit the energy of what it is that I set into motion at the new moon? This crisis in action, because I'm doing things, I'm making things happen, I'm creating. So, are you awake here on this Mercury Wednesday when Mercury shifts into Taurus, saying, is there a message that's coming through that I need to share that has been inspired by my Aryan dance that is now shifting into a little bit more gentle kind of an energy? And just so that we don't become too complacent as we move things along, you can kind of see Venus here is what I'm going to focus on right now. Venus, a couple of degrees away from, oh yes, Uranus. So as we get into this weekend, Venus now comes into the picture. Well, it's been in the picture all along. But it says, Venus, ruler of Taurus, also has an essential, pressure point, we'll call it, in the field of relationship. And so this experience of coming into alignment with Uranus here as we go through this next weekend, keep your antenna up. Don't try and always aim for the same kind of experience that you're aiming for with others. There's an opportunity to awaken parts within each other as we go through this weekend that we may not have, thought was what we really were aiming for. If you're still doing a tried and true repetition of the things that you have always done, take a chance. Uranus is saying, take a chance in, open up to that person that you don't generally talk to. We really don't ever know what it is that's going on within another people, particularly when we're just observing it from the outside. Say hi to that person that you may not have talked to before. Something might awaken within each of you that could not have happened other than by taking that kind of a chance. And this is really the purpose, the sole purpose of why we incarnated at this particular time on planet Earth. It's not to fall into a pattern or a rut of doing the same things over and over and over again. Oh, no, not. We came here to grow our soul awareness, which requires that reaching out and touching other people's soul perspectives so that we can allow a larger version of what it means to be a soul. We have a responsibility, my friends, that is way more enormous than I think we are often allowing credit to participate in. On this very same day that Venus and Uranus are doing the dance, you'll notice that the Sun here is also doing a dance with Jupiter here near the end of Taurus. Don't think small. Don't be small. Don't hold back. Jupiter is not of the nature that says, oh, by the way, I think I will just kind of relax into this experience and allow it to transpire as it needs to transpire. But no, Jupiter's got a driving energy, says, what more is there that I can do? And the Sun and Jupiter together says, what is the magnificence of the largeness of what is possible? How can I, allow this solar energy being to become more than I ever thought possible? What day are we on? Oh, Saturday. We're still in the weekend, of course. That's it. That's all the basic astrology that I'm going to, share with you. But I would offer you just a few moments of some drum cadence to allow this process to settle in. Just allow the time to breathe. Go deep into that experience of your breath. for it feeds the building of your red blood cells and allows the heart to keep on pumping, which is required as long as we're incarnate. So as this drum just beats, feel that core being of your heart driving energy out to all the aspects of you, to the far reaches of your hands, to the top of your head, to the feet that you feel on the ground, and then expand it even further. Allow this energy to drift right down into this marvelous planet Earth. Experience the essence of Taurus. Here is Mama Earth, Pachamama, that essence of the being that makes up our entire physical being, saying, are you paying attention to why it is I gave you these parts of myself to flit around on the surface of this planet, to do the work of spreading my conscious awareness into what does it mean to be a part of nature. Allow that feeling to drift down into the planet and then back up through your souls and then all the way up through your being and then out to the top of your head and spread out in all directions, in every direction around the planet. Allow this essential being that you really are as a soul to grow and expand and become, actually to recognize that you already are a part of absolutely everything. Thank you. That's all we have for this week, and see you all next week.